Welcome to the Timescales Updates. I'm Grego, and right here is my fellow American Doctor Who friend, Alex Patterson, who is in the United Kingdom right now. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Greg. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm here in the UK.
Yes. And what brought you to the UK? And don't tell me it's Doctor Who.
Well, what brought me to the UK was specifically two planes, three different planes. But it was this whole trip has been to experience some of the Doctor Who celebrations happening around the 60th. This happened really as I've been saving up for a little while. I think as the 60th was coming up, I mean, I've always wanted to go to the UK. I've always wanted to do a Doctor Who trip. So with the 60th coming up, I thought to myself, oh, I just hate to, miss out on some of the stuff and events and celebrations that are happening. And so combined with the 7th anniversary of the channel and my birthday, my family was able to also contribute funds that, especially my dad that have allowed me to go on this trip. And so this whole trip has been a community effort to get me here. I feel like none of it was on my my own at all. I've had a lot of really great support. So from the start, it was my family saying, we really want to help you go and help you, have the trip of a lifetime, as I'm calling it. So yeah, it's been so surreal to actually be here.
Okay. Well, you've been exuding excitement and enthusiasm on Twitter, and I have to tell you, I'm a little bit jealous, man. I had an
Yeah.
opportunity to go to England and or the UK in somewhere around 2014. My wife had a business meeting in Cardiff, and of course, we all know Cardiff is where
Yeah.
God lives.
Yeah.
Which would be Gary Russell. So, I actually have to stop calling him that. I think it's embarrassing him. But I couldn't go to Cardiff because I had to work, and I couldn't take the week off. And in looking back at it, I should have just quit my job, and I should have gone. So
Yeah.
so um, for you to be in the UK right now during the celebrations of the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, at least us fans here in the US can get just a little bit of a feel thanks to what you were sharing. And you say the 7th anniversary of your channel, you were talking about the Doctor Who guide, correct?
Yes, the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel. I've been making videos about Doctor Who, over 600 of them in the past 7 years, and so
Wow.
to and it's always been from my perspective as a US fan, looking like longingly over at the UK. And the only ever Doctor Who actor that I've ever met was at a US convention, Sylvester McCoy, and that was actually just the year prior to my channel starting. So I didn't vlog that meeting. I didn't, I got a photo from the event, but I wish I'd filmed it. But a lot of US Doctor Who fans never get to, or rarely get to, meet Doctor Who actors. And in the short amount of time that I've been here, with all of these conventions that are happening in the lead up to the 60th, I've met quite a few actors, and I've gone from just one actor to 8 or 9 now, and I've been on cloud 9. It has just been so surreal what I've been able to pack in and into this trip. There's been so many. I've gone to filming locations. I've gone to I'll give you the list of places that I've gone to.
Okay.
I've been here for 11, 12 days. I left at 11 in the morning on October 25th and arrived in the UK at 8:30 in the morning on October 26th. I felt like a time traveler because there were multiple time zones crossing and happening. And so I've been here. This is now, at the time of recording, the 9th? Is it November 9th?
Yep.
So we're I'm here till the 16th, so we're 2 weeks into a 3-week trip, and so I've been from Manchester to London, London back to Manchester, Manchester to Bury, Bury back to Manchester, then to Southport, from Southport to Blackpool, Blackpool back to Southport, Southport to Liverpool, Liverpool back to Southport. Then I went from Southport to Scarborough, Scarborough to Weston-super-Mare, and Weston-super-Mare to London again, which is where I am right now at the time of recording. I'm like 16 minutes down the road from the London Olympia, where the Doctor Who, the London Film and Comic Con winter event will be happening this weekend. So that's why I'm here. So I've been all over. It has been absolutely nonstop, breakneck speeds since I got here. But that's how I wanted it. That's how I'm planning it. I'm running on adrenaline and varying amounts of sleep because I want to just take every moment that I have here and live it to the fullest, because, you know, trips like this don't happen very much for me. So
Right, right. Now, are you using their public transport, their train system?
I have been getting to know and learn. I feel like I've jumped into the deep end of the UK public transport system, and you know, there I have been on trains, I've been on trams, I've been on buses, I've been on the tube, I've been driven places by friends of mine, which has been lovely, but very trippy to be seeing somebody driving on the wrong side of the road.
On the wrong
Which
side, yeah, with the steering wheel on the wrong side too.
when you're just in one lane, you get used to it. But the thing that very much confuses me is in the US, when you're taking a right turn, it's not into traffic. It's the safer thing. US postal drivers will often plan routes entirely by right turns so that it's a faster, more efficient. Well, I've heard that anyway. And so in the UK, it's left turns that don't go into traffic and right turns that do cross into traffic. So whenever we cross into a lane, I'm always panicking because it feels wrong to me. But thankfully, I'm not the one driving. So, but yeah, the people have been asking how I've been finding the public transport, and I said it's been great when I know where I'm going. When I don't know where I'm going, I'm terrified. So when I initially came to the UK, I drastically underestimated the distance between Manchester and London. I landed in Manchester Airport, thought, oh, I can pop down to London, stay in a hotel that's right nearby MCM, go to MCM on Friday, and then get back up to Manchester to meet up with some friends. And it is they're on different points of the UK, and it was quite the long train ride down there. But whether it's the train or the tube was very confusing for me at first. I went several stops in the wrong direction and then had to go a very long ways back in the right direction. Finding your platform, the correct platform when you're getting onto a train, it has been interesting and confusing to me. Being able to ask people for directions is very important. Everybody's been very nice who I've asked directions of. There was maybe one person who said, yeah, that's what the sign says. But other than that, everybody's been very, very helpful. I know that the public transport system, especially the trains in the UK, does get a bad rap because there are a lot of delays. There are a lot of, problems. But all of the trains that I've ridden on I have only had slight delays or delays that didn't mean that I missed my next stop. I did have one train where I had a 22-minute window of time originally, according to the schedule, to get from one train to the next. And that got eroded down to like 0 minutes. So I was running and I'm carrying my suitcase with me and I'm like running to the stop, and I get there and I'm huffing and puffing. And thankfully that train was late as well. So I was able to still get onto it. But yeah, I have gotten used to the tube more. But the best way to travel in the UK is with somebody else who knows what they're doing. Absolutely.
Okay.
It is very freeing because as somebody who doesn't drive yet in the US, I just haven't gotten around to getting my license. in the US, like we do have public transport, but it is so predominantly driving. So I am reliant much more, if I want to go somewhere that's 3 hours away, I need to find somebody who wants to do that as well, or ask that favor of them. Whereas in the UK, it's been really fun to say, oh, well, I'll get a bus or I'll get a train or I'll, go on the tube and I can travel around by myself. It's scary because, if you don't know where you're walking to get from one station to the next. But for the most part, it's been really freeing to be able to move around in the UK, which is nice.
Okay. I believe that the United States really made a huge mistake by not setting up a better train system. Amtrak is good. Yes, I'm not dissing Amtrak. It's particularly good on the East Coast. Like if you're going to New York City,
Yeah.
you definitely want to take Amtrak because dealing with having a car in New York City is just ridiculous. But
Right.
as far as driving on the other side of the road, or the wrong side of the road where the steering wheel's on the wrong side of the car. I'll do that occasionally in Japan, and it's pretty scary. Now, the train systems in Japan have more recently started to have more English signage, but even still to this point, if it were not for my wife, I would get lost in Tokyo. I would be on CNN American Missing in Tokyo, where it would be the simple fact that I just didn't know where I was. But that's very interesting, the different modes of transportation between the countries, because people will look at America and they'll look at England and think, okay, well, they look the same, they speak the same language, they must be the same. But from what I understand, it's a very different culture. And the only British people that I know, I had a really good friend for life who unfortunately died. His name was Barry, and he lived in Wingerworth, Chesterfield, Derbyshire. And he passed away in his 80s. That was the only person that I had known for many years that was British. And these days, because of Doctor Who, it's the British people I know are always Doctor Who fans, or someone involved in other forms of arts or performing arts. And British people always seem just so nice and polite. And what I have to wonder is that what you were experiencing being in the authentic, real life British public? Are British people as polite as they come across to be?
I have found that, everybody that I've interacted with, so obviously, the friends and the people that I've met, I knew that they were going to be amazing, and they were amazing. And so, that's been nice. But as far as, people on the streets and the crowds, people that have asked for directions, and there's been a lot of people that have asked for directions, or just people on the bus who I've talked with. People have been really nice to me, and I there was when I first got on a train in the UK, I didn't realize that there was a spot at the beginning of each carriage or section of the train where you could put your suitcase, and so I was trying to like stuff it under, like in my seat on the train, and this lady across from me said, I can move my other suitcase and you can put it here so that we can put ours on top of each other, and you don't have to. And it was just little interactions like that, or somebody on the bus asking like what where I was from or whatever. And everybody I've asked for directions has been really nice or reasonable, and everybody just sort of minds their own business on the public transport. I think my experience from public transport in New York is that people look mad at you for taking up space on the bus or on the train.
Everybody in New York's already mad.
and I haven't felt unwelcome on public transit. It's just like we're all there and we're all just minding our own business, and
Right.
Nobody's like, it's not like everybody's smiling or singing musicals on the train, or
Right.
but people just aren't unpleasant in my experience. But I've very intentionally been doing really fun things, and not trying to spend too much time on dark streets when I can avoid it. So
Gotcha. Okay.
that's just been my experience.
Now, you mentioned that people will ask you where you're from. Can people tell that you're an American as soon as you start speaking?
Yes, it's either
Yeah.
they wonder either if I'm American or Canadian. It's honestly a toss up.
O-
And as
Okay.
both of us are Americans, we know better what Canadians sound like, and I'm sure Canadians and Americans would be like, how are they mistaking your accent for a Canadian accent? But
Right.
that it's been a toss up between that. I've had some friends very proudly announce to say a cashier, oh, this is Alex. He's my friend. He's from America, and I'll have said something, and so one cashier said, "With that accent, no way." Like
Really?
very ironic, being like, "Oh yeah, we can tell he's from America." But you know, definitely they don't like a lot of people have asked specifically where I'm from in Vermont, and when I say that, they they know that it's near to Canada, and so they kind of get a reference there. But I don't have the typical like the stereotypical Southern accent, but people can absolutely tell that I'm American, and I haven't tried to do a fake British accent yet because I don't want to get
Right.
thrown out of the
Oh,
country.
darn. I was just going to ask you, have you picked up a British accent yet? And if you have, let's hear it. So you don't have it yet, huh? Okay,
No,
so
no.
um, as you probably know, in America, you will hear people say, tonight we're going out for Italian, or tonight we're going out for Mexican. Okay, now one thing I've never heard ever is people saying, tonight, you already know, tonight we are going out for British. Because if somebody said tonight we're going out for British, first of all, I wouldn't understand what they were talking about.
Yeah.
So that being said, what is the food like?
I have really enjoyed the food here, but uh, Britain is a melting pot of cultures, and there's clearly history behind why that they
Right.
went out
Isn't
and
Indian
purposely.
food right? Indian food is very popular.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
believe their national dish is an Indian dish from when
There,
it was a British colony.
Indian food is very popular. I mean, it has become a little bit of a joke that whether it's Indian food or Chinese cuisine, or there's
Right.
uh, kebab shops are really popular here as well. So you can get food from all around the world here, and actually there was some of the best rated restaurants I think in the UK are French. They're all French restaurants. So, um, but if we can, identify and say, oh, this is a British food that I've tried and I've had because I have been seeking those out. I have had a full English breakfast. Um, I have had fish and chips. I have had a Sunday roast dinner. And so I'd say those were the three most British food. I've had shepherd's pie, um, and I've had I a dish that was it was spinach and red cheese on toast, and that was really delicious. So yeah, I've had those sorts of like quintessentially British things. And the full English breakfast I really liked. It's not like there are a lot of ingredients that you couldn't recreate it at home. Um, but the main thing is that would probably be a bit harder to find in the US would be black pudding, which I did try. It is very salty, and I found it very, very savory in a way that I think would be kind of like Marmite for people. Some people really love it, but I did not, and even less so when I found out what it was made of.
Right. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. That one there, when I read the ingredients, that one there scared me a little bit. That was a
yeah,
little bit of a head scratcher. But
I try
as
to
far as the
bite to
fish,
say that I'd tried it, but the
right,
full English
right.
otherwise, it's either scrambled or a sunny side up egg. The bacon in the UK is a lot more. It's different. It's somewhere between like ham in the US and bacon in the US. Like it has a very bacony flavor, but the texture is it's thicker cut, and it has like probably 10 to 20% fat versus in the US bacon can be very, very fatty. But that was very good. That's the only difference. Baked beans are very popular here as well, and so they're involved in that as well. And then sausages, and mushrooms and tomatoes. The tomatoes I never had it cooked that way for a full English. It's basically these small tomatoes cut in half, and then I guess roasted on one side, so they're warm through the middle, but they're also crunchy, and they're at a nice in between. And I never had a tomato like that before, so yeah, I enjoyed
Okay.
big thumbs up. And Yorkshire pudding, I had proper Yorkshire pudding as well as part of the Sunday roast, and that was very good as well. So yeah, I've been
Okay.
enjoying it.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I don't want to take up all of your vacation time sitting here talking about British food, but it's very, very interesting. Actually, one question about British food. The
Yeah.
fish and chips that we have here in
Mm.
California in particular, the fish and chip restaurants are, how do I say this? It is a Chinese variation of British fish and chips, where it has a really thick, crunchy batter. Absolutely wonderful. Some of the best fish and
Mm.
chips outside of San Francisco
Mm.
can be found in Sacramento, where there
Mm.
are a lot of Chinese restaurants that serve fish and chips, not claiming that they're British. Um,
Mhm.
have you, what is the difference in the actual real British fish and chips compared to what we find here?
Yeah, so with the fish and chips in the UK, so I tried it at a restaurant in Manchester, and I was told that really the best way to have fish and chips is from one of your seaside locations. You know, a
Okay.
nice, authentic, hole in the walls, fish and chips on the seaside. That's better than, and that's the ideal way to experience it. So I've yet to have like by the sea um, fish and chips, but I did really enjoy it. And the difference that I found is that the batter is not at all oily. It is crunchy. It's light. It's there's no like in between soggy breading. Sometimes
Mhm.
you get that in the U.S. where the fish meets the breading.
Yeah.
It's this crunchy exterior. It was a big piece of fish as well. I had two massive pieces of fish, and it was the fish on the inside was really left to shine. You could add some salt to it, but it was not. It was just the fish left to shine, and the crunchy outside. But I was surprised at how not oily or greasy the whole affair was. And I did also try the mushy peas on the side, because that's also apparently a British classic that you need to have with the fish and chips.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'd never heard of that. So, okay, let's
It's
shift gears
exactly
here.
what you think it is. It's exactly what you
We
think
have
it is.
mushy peas. Sounds like
Yeah,
something that might need a little bit of salt and crushed
yeah,
black pepper.
definitely,
Okay,
definitely.
so switching gears to Doctor Who here. I have, I think, 3 or 4 questions about Doctor Who. I want to hear about the uh, the actors or the Doctor Who fame that you've managed to
Hmm.
meet so far. Um,
Hmm.
the fans and the filming locations. But leading into that, I've got to tell you, man, we are in some pain over here in America because
Hmm.
supposedly Disney um, is working with Bad Wolf or BBC or whatever, to
Yep.
where we're going to be able to see the new episodes and the specials, but we're not getting all of it. There were Tales of the TARDIS that came out,
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
which you know, we can watch them, but I think it might be illegal. I mean, you can
Yeah.
use a VPN and make your IP address look like you're in England or the UK,
Hmm.
and you can
Hmm.
watch iPlayer, but I don't feel good about doing that. And I've had
Yeah.
to draw the line because
Yeah.
back when Rose was leaked from CBC back in 2005, I think everybody in America watched it. That even every big fan
Hmm.
that knew that saw that, oh, what is a new Doctor Who? And it's a
Hmm.
leak. Who cares that it's a leak? I got to watch this right now. Okay, well,
Right.
things are a little bit different. And I think it's quite different to be accessing iPlayer without having a license. And I'm
Yeah.
not judging the people that choose to do that,
Yep.
but I have trouble making an ethical decision like that to do that. And
Yeah.
we're being challenged right there. And another thing along those lines is that the animation or the colorization
Yeah.
of the Daleks is
Hmm.
coming out on November 23rd, and it doesn't
Yes.
look like we can get it here. So,
Yeah.
are you being able to enjoy this extra content on iPlayer with Doctor
Yeah.
Who friends while you're there?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely enjoying and feeling slightly guilty for experiencing the exclusive UK content here. I mean, it
Right.
really is so fun. And like you say, I'm pretty sure Tales of the TARDIS has been uploaded to YouTube by this point.
Somebody
And
did, yeah, and it got deleted
that's
because that was total
yeah,
copyright infringement.
yeah,
Yeah,
total,
that
yeah.
was wrong.
You can't do that and just say, "Oh, this isn't my content." Obviously, it's not your content.
Exactly.
You're a
Yeah, they
random
probably
YouTube
lost their
channel or
account
whatever.
for doing that, whoever did it.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
I've been able to, watch TV with my friends in the UK and watch the Tales of the TARDIS. They have, kindly shown them to me, and they are absolutely incredible and lovely shorts. That what they are is they're prequels and sequels. They're they introduce an omnibus version of famous episodes. So you have the Time Meddler, you have the Mind Robber, you have Caves of Androzani, you've got Curse of Fenric. Um, I believe for the Sixth Doctor, it was Vengeance, and then I think I'm missing one, but they're cut together with the beginning and ending, the title sequences and credits cut out, and maybe even some more cutting beyond that. But really, what we've just been doing in the UK is watching the beginning and ending
right.
sequences,
Okay.
and they generally feature two Doctor Who characters, either a Doctor and companion or two companions meeting. And the whole thing is that they end up in this Memory Tardis, which is a bunch of, imagine all the TARDIS sets combined into one with bits and pieces from every TARDIS everywhere. And the whole point of being in the Memory TARDIS is to relive and remember and process your adventures and get together and talk about that. And so it is canonically picking up from the show, and is featuring the older actors for many lovely companions and doctors. And it's been an absolute thrill to be able to watch it. And I feel so sad that U.S. fans can't celebrate by being able to see
Yeah.
these as well. I got to watch the documentary with the David Tennant introducing clips of interviews that probably most people have seen as bonus features before. But that documentary was very nice with linking sections, and I got to see that when it came out, along with the video replay of the Doctor Who at 60 concert, which was an hour of Doctor Who music. Now you
Oh,
can
you saw
still
the
listen to
video of
that.
that?
Yeah, you can listen
Yeah.
to it on BBC Sounds for a limited period of time. So I would recommend that
Right.
people go and do that. But to be able to watch it and see the musicians performing, and to see the different Doctor Who showrunners or guests that they brought up in the segments in between, that was really cool as well. And I'm conscious of the fact that these are things that you can't do in the US, and it's really hurting the celebrations. And it's gonna
Yeah.
be frustrating to not see the Dalek colorization. Some of these things we can hope will eventually end up on bonus features for releases, but it's not fun to have to wait for that. The whole point is that these are
Yeah.
60th anniversary celebrations, not down the road celebrations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really tough ethical situation for a Doctor Who fan to be put in.
Yeah.
When I see actors and other people involved in something such as Tales of the TARDIS,
Mhm.
I cannot steal their work. And I should
Yeah.
not have to be presented with an ethical question like that.
Yeah.
It should be available. If Doctor Who is
Yeah.
international, why can't we just buy it for streaming?
Yeah.
Why is it
Exactly.
only on iPlayer? And Russell T Davies, I don't use Instagram, but somebody put a
Mhm.
screenshot of something he said on Instagram
Yeah.
that I don't remember his exact words, but what he was
Yeah.
saying was that Disney did not provide any money for the
Yeah.
Tales of the TARDIS.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
he summed it up really well. So therefore, as Americans, we need to blame Disney, you know, not BBC or Bad Wolf, but it's a what I'm wondering is, can you record these off? I know that British license fee payers, the people that
Mhm.
pay the fee to the BBC, are allowed to download these. Can you download this content to a thumb drive and bring it back with you, or do you know? Probably not.
So with the way the BBC iPlayer app works is it's kind of like how iTunes works now. So back in the day on iTunes, you could physically download an MP4 or an MP3 or an MOV
Right.
file of an episode and edit it. And that was fun. I remember doing that and like making your own cuts of things. And you could like have a copy on your hard drive. The way I believe iPlayer works as far as downloading things is similar to how on Netflix you can download an episode to watch when you don't have Wi-Fi, but you never physically download the file onto a thumb drive or something. It's on the app, and you've downloaded it to your app or your phone's memory, so that you can watch it without Wi-Fi. I believe that's how it works. Because again, iPlayer has just been this app like we would have on our smart TVs that you know watch something on. So I haven't tried to explore the iPlayer beyond just, oh, let's watch this now as a program. But I don't think that there is a legal iPlayer. I know there are ways that you can in the UK download something and copy it from iPlayer, but I don't know of legal ways that you know
Okay.
you could get it. It's that's not how
Gotcha.
the infrastructure works.
Okay.
So
Well,
unfortunately,
what I was thinking, I was being very selfish, and I was thinking maybe you can download this to a thumb drive, and when you get back to the States, mail it to me so I can watch it. But that's probably that's probably not possible. So, and what you were saying about Netflix, YouTube is the same way, where it says
yeah,
you can download something, but it downloads it into their storage area where you can watch it
yeah,
offline. It doesn't mean that you have a physical thing that you can put like on a thumb drive or what
exactly.
have you. Right.
And you're right about iPlayer in that, no Disney money went into making Tales of the TARDIS. This was part of iPlayer, their whole launch of the Hooniverse. And so one of the cool things that you see in the Tales of the TARDIS is this intro, that if you imagine, the Marvel intro with a bunch of faces and,
Yeah.
they're all
Yeah.
within the logo. There's a Doctor Who version of that with,
Really.
and the W has doctors in it, the H has companions, and the O has monsters. And it's quite a
Mhm.
wide variety and selection because it includes Torchwood and Sarah Jane as well as Doctor Who. And so that's quite fun to see, and that feels very trippy because it felt like a very Marvel Disney thing in an iPlayer short. And the thing is, like you're saying, I think everybody should have an option to pay and directly support. Just like how people who and again, it's a tax in the UK. It's a TV license
Right.
tax. Uh, like yes, you should get something as a result of paying that tax, but it's not like a Kickstarter where people are consciously choosing. There is a consequence, a legal consequence, a fine or something. So just like we would pay a tax and get certain things out of it in the US, that is how it's happening in iPlayer. So bear that in mind, that
Right.
that's how that works. And so I do agree with you. I think that there should be a way that we can buy this and still support the whole effort to have more of these, because it would be really cool to have more of them down the road.
Right. Well, I think it's probably important for Americans to realize that I don't think that they should blame BBC or Bad Wolf, because if our provider is Disney, and if Disney is not providing it to us, then our beef should be with Disney. And as far as something that just occurred to me, another reason that you can't download these episodes and put them on a disc or something and bring them back to America is that you don't have a BBC television license. You know, your friend might, but it's not yours. So a lot of complicated things there that shouldn't be complicated, because if I have let's say it costs $10 for me to stream all of the episodes of Tales of the TARDIS, okay, and I have a $10 bill laying right here, and I want Tales of the TARDIS, shouldn't BBC be able to accept my money? I thought that they liked money. So why can't why can't I give them my $10 and just watch what I want to? Because you know, like you said, somebody put these on YouTube. I knew about it. I was trying to figure out whether or not I should use a VPN before. It didn't take a lot of thinking before I finally realized, no, I'm not going to do that, because I wouldn't feel good about it. And someone told me that, you know, they're on YouTube. Somebody put them on YouTube. And I don't think that's going to stop. You know, what about next week? What about when someone else decides, oh, let's just go ahead and put the colorized, well, actually, let's talk about the 23rd, when the Daleks comes out in color, 75 minutes, okay? YouTube will accept a 75-minute video, no problem. You and I know that. We upload videos like that all the time. So what's going to stop somebody from thinking that, oh, well, this isn't even available here, let's put it on my channel, and all I have to do is say, I don't own this content. Well, no, you can't do that. But what's going to stop people, because I think that they will, and it would make more sense to me for me to take my $10 bill, give it to the BBC in whatever digital currency format they accept, and be able to enjoy the content. But anyway, all right. So moving on beyond that, what kind of celebrities have you met?
Oh my goodness. Well, first off, I guess, so as we talked about things that are more readily and easily available in the UK, I have here some jelly babies, and I want
the real ones.
Would you like a jelly baby?
I would love a jelly baby. Thank you.
And so I've had different things that have been on my bucket list as I've been in the UK. And one of them was to buy jelly babies at a normal store, candy store, convenience store in the UK, because they're not available here in the US. People are surprised to hear that they're not available here in the US. You have to buy them online. They are available, but you have to buy them online. And they're also cheaper here. It's like, I don't know, £3 or something. I got 2 for £5 the other day. And so, yeah, it's been lovely to actually be able to find things in a store like Doctor Who. So, yeah, the people that I've met, so I've been going to Comic Cons every weekend, conventions while I'm here. And
you've been going to Comic Cons every weekend since you've been there.
Yes. Wow. So I'm here for 3 weeks. The first week I was here, I went to, I believe it would have been 2 conventions. I went to MCM Comic Con on Friday, which was in London. And that convention had Doctor Who artists there, but it didn't have any, to my knowledge, any Doctor Who actors there. But I did get to meet various Doctor Who artists, and you'll see I have a whole UK vlog that's going to be coming up on the channel, but you're getting a preview here because it is going to take me some time to edit together everything, and I've been journaling every night to keep track of everything that happened in what order and such. So I didn't meet Doctor Who actors at MCM, but there was the most amazing Forbidden Planet exhibit they had there. They had the TARDIS that you could take photos in front of. They had the 14th Doctor's costume and the 15th Doctor's costume, as well as the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdrivers in these glass cases, beautifully lit. And I said about both costumes, I was like, where can I get one in my size, please? Like, I just want to buy these and take them home. And of course, they had so much from the Diamond collection. I think, practically everything was there. And it was an amazing display. And you'll see in the video everything that was there. Then on Sunday, so 2 days later, I went to Barrie Comic Con, and that convention happened in an art museum of all places. I've never been to a convention that's in an art museum. You had your typical convention tables with vendors and artists or guests signing, and behind them, kind of like behind you, there were paintings that are these beautiful, massively framed, paintings that people would go to an art gallery to see, because it was an art gallery, and it was very Yeah, and it was the
Wow.
first year that they had this Barrie Comic Con. It was an event that happened in multiple buildings and spaces, and this building had, you know, a place that I don't know if tea house is the right word, but it, you know, you could order tea and sit down at a table and stuff. So it was very, very cool. And Colin Baker was the only Doctor Who actor there. You did have Lou Stringer, the artist who does the comic strip in Doctor Who magazine, and he was doing. You could commission a piece of art from him for £15, and it would be
Wow.
of any Doctor Who character you wanted. Well, I said to him, this is going to sound like a very vain request, but could you do a picture of me, but in the Fourth Doctor's outfit, with in front of the TARDIS? And he was like, sure. And so he was
You
like
asked Lou
looking at doing
Stringer
it.
to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So I have a
really?
piece of Lou Stringer artwork. He also was signing things for free. So I had him sign my copy of Doctor Who magazine, which was another bucket list item. Like, I got a new copy of Doctor Who magazine
Right.
physically, like that, the day it came out, or well, not the, you know, right as it came out. And so he signed that, and so now I have also this wonderful piece of artwork.
So
So
was
just in
Colin
case,
Baker there?
Colin Baker was there. And the I talked to two of the receptionists after the event, and they were manually counting. They have this fancy laser system that like counts the number of people that come through their museum, but it was at a different door and not the entrance that everybody was coming in for the convention. So they were stood there
Right.
with a counter, like counting as people came in, and over 1,200 people came to this convention. And I got us there early. Me and my friends went to go there, and I got us there early because I wanted to meet Colin Baker earlier in the day, just so that he was in, you know, had all the energy and was in a good mood, just in case. Because I've heard of, you know, some con experiences where the actor has been, you know, through a long day and is tired or whatever.
Right.
And so we were right at the very, I'd say within the first 10 or 20 people to meet Colin Baker. And he was in a lovely, lovely mood. But I also later on in the day went with two other friends at the very end. So I saw him at 10:30 and I saw him at 4:30. And the reason I tell you this is that he was just as nice and jovial after, what is that, 6 hours of signing and meeting fans. He
Right.
was not grumpy at the end of the day. He was just as lovely. So I got to see him at those bookends, and I think all of those, like probably 1,000, if not more, all 1,200 of those people were there to see Colin Baker and got to have a lovely experience and get things signed and photographs, and so I got to meet him and say hello. And at MCM Comic Con, they had some Doctor Who books available early, so I got Hootopia, and that was available. It's coming out sometime beginning of November, but I got to get it on October 27th. And so there are pages for each of the doctors. So I had him sign his page in Hootopia, which was lovely. And you could also get a video from him. So for my channel, you know how on the official Doctor Who YouTube channel, they have the new doctors or whoever the current doctor is saying, don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Doctor Who YouTube
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
got I got a video of Colin Baker saying, "Don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel."
Oh, how
Oh my
nice.
gosh!
That is absolutely awesome.
I'm gonna have that at
That
the end of every video now.
that okay, and did you I got to ask you this. Did you ask him his permission for perpetual use where you can use it over and over again?
So what I did is they have signs saying you can get a signature, a selfie, a combo of both, and you can buy a video from them. So I paid him for
Okay.
the video, and he, you know, told him what I wanted him to say. So I assumed that that would be implied. You know, he was fine with saying
Right.
subscribe to the Doctor Who Guide. I gave him a business card. You
Okay.
know, so he can look up my channel, and if he ever wants to revoke the rights, you know, go
Then
for
he
it.
can.
I
Yeah.
didn't sign a waiver, but I think that the context, you know, I did pay him for the video, and he knew that it was saying subscribe. And I told him, you know, this is what the official Doctor Who channel does. I'd like to do this on my channel.
Right.
And so I think Yeah,
so
I would
then
say
he
yes to
knows.
that.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah. The reason I asked that is that when I interviewed Sophie Aldred, I asked her if she could record a clip that says, welcome to the Timescales interviews. And she did. And then I
yeah,
put that on the beginning of the Sophie Aldred interview. But something occurred to me at the time. I didn't ask her if I can use this again for another video in the future. That's why that question came up. I think that anytime us content creators record a clip like that of a celebrity, in order to use it again and again, I think we need to let them know first. I would like to use this repeatedly, or ask their permission again before you use it. So, but it sounds like to me with you already did explain to him that you were going to reuse that. So, sounds like Colin Baker's got some stamina for him to be there for 6 hours. And I guess it shouldn't be surprising because he's a stage actor currently.
And he also, from what I heard from my UK friends, is he is at every Doctor Who convention and event, and he is just such a trooper at doing that. I mean, it's not that he's not getting anything out of it. These actors do charge for their autographs and such, but they don't have to go to every convention that's out there, and that is what Colin Baker does. And they don't always have to be cheerful. And he was just so nice to everybody the whole day. He took like 1 20-minute break, is what the receptionist said. So that was amazing to meet him, and I was on cloud nine, as you can imagine. Later on in the day, I got to meet Will Hadcroft, the author of Doctor Who: The Resurrection Plant, the very
right.
first
That's
person
the first person I ever interviewed. Yeah, you too.
Same. And so I got to meet him in person, which was amazing. And he and his brother showed up, and I took him to the convention, and we waited in line together, and I took their photo with Colin Baker. And like I said, at the end of the day, he was still in a great mood and was happy to meet Will. And that was very cool. Will Hadcroft is just amazing, just as nice as he was in our interviews in person. He actually gave me a one of the early produced copies of his first book. It was I think I don't know if I'm getting the terms right, but like a press copy. And he signed it to me, and it's like one of 20 versions of his very first book. And it's just so incredible to have that as well, the Android, the first of that series. And so he was just so lovely to meet. And I felt like, even though we both were going to the event, he was like somebody that I got to meet at Barrie Comic Con. And so the next convention that I went to was the following weekend in Scarborough. And I was told today it could also be pronounced Scarborough. So I might just be doing my Americanism of it. But
I think that's actually Canadian. There's either a Scarborough or a Scarborough, Ontario, Canada as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this particular convention was the tagline was celebrating 60 years of Doctor Who by the sea. And it was by the sea. It was this beautiful location. It was the Scarborough Spa. And it looks like a little mini castle, like not like turrets castle, but like a beautiful building that is by the seaside. And it was the most surreal thing to see. Like there was this Fourth Doctor cosplayer, and she was just walking down the beach in a season 18 scarf, and I, full outfit for the Fourth Doctor. And I was like, is this the Leisure Hive? Like, I feel like I've stepped into this world, and to see Doctor Who cosplayers, all heading to this building or heading out from this building, because I arrived quite late into the convention, and also on the beach. Like, I've never been to the beach and spotted a Doctor Who cosplayer. So it was quite fun, and a beautiful location. And after the convention at the night, they were celebrating bonfire night, so there were fireworks as well. So it was just a whole beautiful setting, which I then promptly spent indoors waiting in line at a convention to meet these Doctor Who actors.
So you've answered the question. You did go to the United Kingdom because of Doctor Who.
Yes, 100%. And people have been saying, like, well, what do you want to do while you're here? Do you want to do this touristy thing or that touristy thing? And I was like, not if it's not in Doctor Who. Like I've legitimately done 90% of my stuff here has been, I've been, kind of forced to do some non-Doctor Who stuff, which was really fun. But for the most part, I've been doing Doctor Who stuff. So at this convention, I got there because, again, I underestimated how long it takes to get to different places. And Scarborough was a very long ways away from, I think it was, I left Southport and went to Scarborough. So like two ends of the top of the UK, if I have my map right. Or the middle of the UK, whatever, either side. And so I arrived at the convention after traveling in the morning to Scarborough at about 2, and the convention ended at 5. So I never thought I'd be the kind of person who was like, oh, I'm not going to meet this Doctor Who actor again at this convention because I've seen them already. And the Alex that had never been to the UK would absolutely have been like, no, you take every opportunity to meet and at least say hi to a Doctor Who actor if you're in the same room as them. But the thing was, there were long lines for each of the doctors. And so I didn't actually get to say hi to Colin Baker a second time at Scarborough Comic Con. But of course he was there because he's at every convention. Because there was a line for him. And I was worried that I wouldn't have time to meet the other doctors and companions that I'd never met before because there were long lines and because there was a Doctor Who panel from 4 to 5. And then the convention kind of ended after that. So I got in line for Peter Davison, which was very long and slow moving because he did take his time with the fans, but also there were a lot of fans to get through. And so I get halfway through the line and then he has to get up and go to a multi-doctor and companion photo shoot. So it's another 15 minutes, and now we're standing in a line that's not moving, just holding our place. But thankfully, there was a Gandalf and Gollum cosplayer, and Gandalf was dragging Gollum around by a leash, and they entertained us for a little bit. And of course, the room's full of Doctor Who fans, Doctor Who cosplayers. There was a cosplay competition going on that we could watch. And then Peter Davison came back, and I get to him in line, and again, I got my Hootopia signed on his page. He was so lovely. I mean, there's two things that happen when you meet a Doctor Who actor. One is the transactional thing. You're letting the actor and the assistant or the person who's helping them, you're telling them what you want. Do you want an autograph? Do you want a photo, a selfie? Do you want, a video? And you're telling them how you're going to pay. And you're also telling them what your name is and how to spell it correctly. So that's all happening intermittently as you're trying to meet your hero and tell them how much they meant to you, and as you're stuttering through and having your moment of not knowing what you're going to say and having this interaction. So I say that to say he was very, 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 very nice, very, very pleasant, very cheerful when I met him. And it was so lovely to be able to, and for everybody, I told them, hey, I'm from the US, and they obviously got that from the accent, but they asked, where was I from? And, I said Vermont, and how long was I here for the UK? And, I got to say, how are you enjoying the convention and that sort of stuff. And I would tell them about my channel as a lead into the, can you record a video saying, subscribe to the Doctor Who Guy channel. And so, because that was one of the things that I could pay him to do, that's what I did. And I got a selfie with him as well. So now I have a video of Colin Baker and Peter Davison saying, subscribe to the Doctor Who Guy.
That is so awesome. So when you get to the transactional point, is there an option of, I'd like to do a 4-hour interview with you for my YouTube channel?
Right.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. Wow, that's
considering the 10-second clip cost me £30. I don't know that I could afford an 4-hour-long interview.
Okay, so whoa, that would be costly.
Yeah,
at one point I tried to figure out how much it would cost to actually interview Tom Baker. I think it was about $250,000 if I could ask him everything that I wanted to. That's just a joke, by the way. I'm just joking. So
it was lovely, and what I did is I did give them my business card and tell them that I've interviewed Doctor Who writers and artists before. So I now the people that I mentioned to you, they all have my business card. Now, whether they threw it away,
Nice.
lost it, or whatever, but they do have it.
They'll
And
probably
so
keep it. Yeah.
they'll probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And they added it to their little pile of things that fans had given them throughout the day. And so he was absolutely lovely. Couldn't have had a better experience with him. When you do the photo, he gets up from the table and you do this sort of side hug thing, and he was very warm, and it was very nice. He was not like standoffish at all, and we took a lovely selfie and such, and or somebody took the photo of us, and so I was on cloud nine, having met another doctor, and just next to him was Sarah Sutton, and so I met Nissa and said hello to her, had her sign Hootopia. Now my tip is, if you're having someone sign a book, make sure you have all the pages marked before you go up to them, because the way Hootopia was arranged, it's not in like any sort of chronology. There are different categories, and it's really cleverly put together. But I started my interaction with her and then said, actually, I'm going to let this next person go, and I'm going to find the correct page. And that was totally fine. But if you are going to have something signed, make sure you have all the pages ready to go for each different actor. And I do recommend having something that you can get, like one item that you can get signed by multiple people. Somebody had the light at the end, Big Finish, audio that they were getting signed by each of the doctors, because that's just less things to carry. A lot of people do bring multiple different items, and that's great. It's just up to you to how much weight you want to carry. This book was also very heavy, so I didn't solve that problem necessarily, but that's a tip as well. And Sarah Sutton was lovely as well. I got her to sign, and I didn't get a photo with her, a selfie, because I only had a certain amount in my bank account, and so I wanted to make sure that I had enough for the other doctors, and likewise I didn't get a video from her, but I did meet her and she was lovely. So next I got in the line for Paul McGann, he
was there too?
doctor. He was there too.
Yeah.
They had doctors 5, 6, 7, and 8, and so I get in the line for Paul McGann, and again there's one person in front of me, and he has to get up and do another photo shoot because 3 people had missed their photo shoot with him. And so it was just another 10-15 minutes, and then I got to meet him. Now, the thing about conventions that I will give you a tip for, and some of these tips, as I share my adventures in the UK, might be very, very obvious and not actually tips, but they were things that I ran into and hopefully can help other people from running into. But if you're going to a convention, make sure you bring with you, I want to say, copious amounts of cash, because you will spend a lot and you want to give yourself options, but it's also not the best idea to walk around strange locations and stuff with like tons of cash as well. But if you're going to a convention, take cash, because some actors only take cash at the table. And that was the case with Paul McGann, sadly, because I didn't have UK cash on me. And I had only gotten enough the morning of to get the £10 into the convention. That was the cost of the ticket, which for a convention and to meet these many doctors is a great price for entry.
Yeah, very
really
reasonable.
great price. And I was kicking myself because I wished that I had gotten more cash, because I could meet Paul McGann, but I couldn't get a selfie with him. I couldn't get an autograph. I couldn't get a video from him, even though I would have desperately loved to have gotten those things, because I didn't bring any cash with me. But he was lovely as well. Gave me 2 handshakes, which would and cool. Just so nice and receptive and lovely. And he's 100% present with you. He maintains that eye contact. It's hard not to get lost in his eyes. He's just lovely. He's just so nice and present, and again, gave him the business card and the whole, told him about the trip and everything. And he seemed genuinely, a little disappointed, that not for his sake, but for mine, that I didn't have cash and couldn't
right.
have and so that was lovely as well. So bring cash is
bring cash. Okay. And it has to be in the correct currency. They use pounds sterling there. Does their paper currency still have the Queen?
It does still have the Queen. It's also a newer, actually plastic design.
Really?
So it's not like in the US where it's papery and you can crease and fold. I mean, you can crease it, but and especially the cash that was dispensed from these cash points, it is new and plastic and all different sort of shiny bits and stuff for authenticity and whatever. So it is cool. And I might take I might go to a cash point before I leave the UK just to get like a £1 note and a £10 note or whatever they have, you know, as a souvenir. So yeah, the right currency. And I also went to like 5 different cash point machines to find one that took my. I mean, here's another tip too. Discover is a card that is taken very intermittently in the UK. I would not recommend relying on that. In the UK, it works about half the time. But I also have my Visa debit card, and so that worked everywhere I've been in the UK. So, but even some cash point machines that day were persnickety, and I had to go to like the 5th one worked because I was like, I just need $10 to get to this convention, and it held me up for half an hour trying to find that cash. So be prepared. And then I went in the line for Sophie Aldred because I thought,
oh, she was there too.
She was there too.
Awesome.
And I thought, oh, I could meet Sylvester McCoy, but I met him 6 years ago, and I thought I want to get to meet Sophie. And so again, I got right to the next point in her line, and the panel started, and so she had to go to the panel, which had, you know, her and 7 other you know, Doctor Who actors on the panel. So, but don't be disappointed if that happens to you, because I would much rather have an interaction that I had to wait a while for, or not have an interaction, because when you do have an actor who's stressed or has to rush to get somewhere, it's not as nice, and they don't have the time to have that conversation with you, that little, you know, a nice back and forth. You know, nobody has a long conversation with these actors because there's a whole line of people waiting. But if they have to be rushed off, I heard from other fans at the event that, you know, if that happened to them and they wish that they had just said, no, it's fine, go do this thing, and we'll wait. So I was happy that I could wait and just watch the panel. And then after the panel, I did get a photo with Sophie because she took card, and I got a video of her saying subscribe as well, because I was like, why is it only the doctors saying
I
subscribe?
hope you asked her if you can use it more than once.
Again,
right.
Again, gave her that context. Yeah. So yeah, she was lovely. She was so as sweet and awesome as you think she's going to be. The saying "don't meet your heroes" does not apply in my experience to any of these Doctor Who actors that we mentioned today. Right. She was just as cool and awesome, and again signed her page of Hootopia. And it was getting to the end of the convention, because technically after the panel, the con was, you know, winding down and over, but I did manage to meet Sylvester McCoy for a second time, and awesome. He was lovely as well. He did say during our interaction that, you know, we have to keep things moving and such, but he was still very nice and you know, paid attention to you know, gave his attention, and was very sweet as well. So I got a let's see, I got his signature on the Hootopia book, and so I have 5, 6, and 7 now, and I got a selfie with him. I didn't get a video of him saying subscribe because there were other people waiting in line, and he said, you know, we have to get through this faster, so I didn't want to take up that time. But the reason I also wanted to prioritize the selfie or the picture with him is that I had brought from all the way from the US the very first professionally printed picture from a convention where I had met him in 2016, and I asked, can you hold this picture in this picture with me? So it's a picture within a picture of the, you know, 6, 7 years apart of our first meeting, and then subsequent meetings I'll print out a picture of us now. And this wasn't a professional photo shoot, so I might do that again at another photo shoot. But for the selfie picture, I thought, you know, why not? It's a very cool idea, and they seem to think so as well. And I'm not going to say he remembered meeting me from that event 6, 7 years ago where he met hundreds of other fans, but he did, you know, he could see the picture, and he did hold it up, and it was a lovely selfie.
Absolutely awesome. Okay. Okay. Well, listen, I am going to let you run because I used up way more time than I said. I said, hey, Alex, I want to interview you in the UK. It'll take 10 minutes. So we ran a little over 10 minutes. Anything else you want to add, like filming locations? You said you went to some filming
Yeah.
locations?
So I'm the light gets dark in the UK now that it's November very soon, so around 5.
Right.
So
Right.
I wanted to get to my hotel because I never walked to this particular hotel in this particular part of the UK before. So I wanted to get there while it was still not super dark. So actually I do have time if you have time
Yeah.
tonight,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I don't have
Yeah,
anything
it's
else that I'm doing tonight.
okay,
So
cool. Yeah, it's just 1:30 here. And
oh wow. Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating for me to and for others
Wow.
others are going to be able to watch this. There has to be a lot of American Doctor Who fans that have just dreamed of going to
Yeah.
the UK
Yeah.
because of Doctor Who. As ridiculous as that may sound to anybody that's not a Doctor Who fan, and it's very interesting. Your tips on attending the conventions, that's really
Yeah.
wise to take the currency and take the currency they accept. I made
Yeah.
them as many times as I've been to Japan with my wife. I always make the same
Mhm.
stupid mistake and I forget to get paper yens.
Yeah.
And I remember going out to a stationery and pen shop in Tokyo and finding some absolutely beautiful pens.
Mm.
I mean, pens that would cost like $30 or $40 here for like $2. And I didn't have any
Wow.
money and they didn't accept Discover card. So I think it's like
Yeah.
it's a hit or
Yeah.
miss with Discover card in Japan also. So the best thing to do is have a really good international card such as Visa, and then don't rely
Mhm.
on the acceptance
Right.
of even cards and
Yeah.
have a pocket full of the local currency. See,
Right.
that's a mistake I would have made. I would
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
absolutely
Same.
done that. I would have gotten in line to meet Paul McGann
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
got up there, and I would have chosen the option of the video, and I would have got
Yeah.
him to
Yeah.
say, "You're watching the time scales." I mean, how
Right.
awesome would that be? And then
Right.
all of a sudden realize, oh man, I don't have any cash. I just came from the other side of the world, and it
Yeah.
took three
Yeah.
days to get here, and I don't have any
Yep.
cash. So yeah,
Yep.
that good
Exactly.
advice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, and there was another actor that I met that day, uh, who it was Sonny McGann, Paul McGann's son,
Oh,
who
really? I
is
didn't know.
producer for Big Finish, plays the Doctor's grandson in Big Finish, which you
What?
may or may not know existed.
I
Whose
had
name
no idea.
in Big Finish is Alex. So it pleased me to no end to meet the Doctor Who Alex. And we actually had a nice long conversation and talked about my trip and producing Doctor Who, and he was just super lovely. It was actually his birthday that day, and he was spending it at a convention, right at the table
Oh,
next to his dad, but he was spending that day with us. And I also, at the end of the convention, I wasn't, because again, he didn't accept cash, so I wasn't able to get any pictures or videos or autographs. But at the end of the convention, Nicola Bryant was packing up her table, and me and another fan, we both went up and said, "Hey, we know you're packing up. We don't actually, want anything, but we wanted to say hello and introduce ourselves, and say how cool we think you are." And she was lovely. She was lovely. She was packing up, but wasn't gruff or mean or anything. Just as you might expect somebody who's like, "No, I'm done with the day." She was the nicest person ever, and so didn't get any signature or anything, but it was lovely to meet her as well. It was so surreal and trippy and exciting and like overwhelming to see, like, oh, here's Sylvester McCoy and Paul McGann just walking and across the room and together and like laughing together about stuff, or just seeing Doctor Who actors in the same room as you. It might be something that somebody in the UK is very used to happening, or so many conventions may happen so regularly that you go, I can't be bothered this weekend to go out of this way. But for us Americans, it's like, there's an opportunity to meet a new Doctor
yeah.
Who actor. How can you not take it? And like I say, if I had been there earlier in the day, I would have definitely taken the time to see Colin Baker, excuse me. But like I said, that I had just enough time to get through the lines of those people that I mentioned before the con closed that I didn't actually have time to meet him a second time, which is a shame. But the panel was hilarious. It had Doctors 5, 6, 7, and 8. It had Nissa, Perry, Sonny McGann, and also another actor from who escapes my memory at the moment, but she was in, I think, one of the Sylvester McCoy episodes. So all 8 of them were on a panel together, and I actually recorded. Like I first was just going to record some bits of it, and I was at the back and I was holding it up, so it's shaky, but I was holding up the whole time like as if I were at a concert. But I actually ended up recording 80% of this panel at Scarborough, so that'll be on the channel at some point for all of you to watch and enjoy. It was really fun to see that panel and to see everybody talk about Doctor Who, and there were some very funny moments. They're a funny bunch, like Sylvester McCoy. Normally the actors just pass the mic down the line, and every time Colin went to take the mic, Sylvester would grab it back away from him, and they were bickering the whole time, and it was just so funny. Awesome. And yeah, so then this coming weekend I'll be at London Film and Comic Con, which Sophie Aldred will be there, Sylvester McCoy will be there, and Karen Gillan will be there, and I'm sure more that I'm forgetting at the moment, but it's going to be very, very, very fun, and there's going to be a lot of Doctor Who actors and artists and writers and stuff there, so I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, that's what a terrible problem to have. So many actors and so many doctors. It's like, okay, well, I better not get in line. It almost sounds like Disneyland. Waiting in line for Disneyland, where you need to plan and pick which rides you're going to go on because you can't ride them all in one day. And to have to go, okay, well, here's Sylvester McCoy's line, but I already met him last weekend, so let me go ahead and get. That's crazy. And that's something that I've envisioned after in the last couple of years of starting to reach out. And COVID, I think COVID lockdown is what started a lot of it, to where the fans and the professionals started to communicate more. And I've had this picture in my mind that going to England or the UK is like Doctor Who Disneyland, and that they're having a convention every weekend. And jokingly, I thought I was joking to myself, and I think I've even said that before, but it sounds like that's pretty close to being accurate. Now,
and I would give the caveat that it's the lead up to the 60th, so that's what's called. But there were there was another Doctor Who event happening the same weekend as the Scarborough Comic Con. So
another one.
They are, and there's another convention that's happening the week after I leave. So I think Telford Comic Con is happening the 18th and the 19th. And so, and what I was struck by was the day after I saw Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker. Well, I didn't see him at Scarborough, but the day after I saw Sylvester McCoy at Scarborough Comic Con was the Doctor Who premiere of Doctor Who and the Star Beast. And there he was the next day in a different location.
Did you see the Star Beast?
No, I was not lucky enough to get invited to the premiere. It was very exclusive, and I didn't even know it was happening until I saw it on Twitter. So I wish, I wish, but
no. I can't believe I can't believe that they would do something like that. I thought it was a joke when I saw it on Twitter that the Star Beast had premiered. I'm like, because if somebody did that in the US, somebody would have had a headset camera on or something like that and leaked it onto YouTube. So I guess they can have a smaller event like that there and
it seemed to me like there was
something.
It seemed to me like there was a guest list of people who would be either they were involved in the filming of Tales of the TARDIS, or like Carol Ann Ford was there. And so Doctor Who actors, or like some like Luke Spillane was there, Crystal D was there. So there was a list, but I think it's all people who would, know that they would rather, they don't want to risk their relationship with actual Russell T
Well,
Davies,
yeah,
so
exactly.
by leaking it. So they
Right.
and then
You know,
actors from the specials were there as well. So yeah.
right, right. You know, the concert where they performed the Doctor Who
Mm-hmm.
theme for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
there was someone that audio recorded that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but it wasn't widely
It was
shared.
it was
Um,
meant to be wide, live broadcast anyway on BBC
exactly.
Sound.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
yeah.
what's waiting a couple of weeks to watch it properly? What I'm wondering is those all of these conventions every weekend, are they doing cosplay like we do here?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Really?
There were
Okay.
all the doctors. There were some really creative cosplays as well. You saw Missy, some Missy cosplayers. Um, it was really, quite a variety. And yeah, there's a lot of events happening right now because it's the 60th and hyping all of that up. But yeah, it's been wild. And so I did go to some filming locations as well. Um,
Mhm.
it's really, really fun to go to a filming location and see the whether it's there were a lot of steps that I went to visit. Like people would think, oh, you go to the UK and you see these buildings or monuments or tourist locations or whatever, and I'm like, Doctor Who actors walked on these stairs. Like I'm looking at stairs, and that's what I'm
Right.
excited about. Like they filmed on these stairs. I went to Liverpool and saw 4 or 5 of the filming locations from Doctor Who Flux. So you'll get to see those in the vlog as well. And I went to Cardiff the other day with my friend Anthony Garnon, who showed me around Cardiff, and we saw, in the series 3 where there's the moment where Jack and the Doctor and Martha are talking, and Jack reveals something about himself and who he is that they are shocked by. It's been since 2017, so I don't think it's much of a spoiler. But it's the face of Bo moment where
Okay.
and they're on the railing and they're like, "No, you can't. He can't be. Is he?" We went to that railing, that exact spot right outside the Millennium Center in Cardiff. That whole building is stunning and beautiful, but it's right by the Torchwood Tower. So we got to see that as well and film in front of that. And so there were Torchwood locations. We saw Ianto's Shrine. So there are Torchwood locations that we saw. There are Doctor Who locations there. And Cardiff was just beautiful. And the weather, which I thought would be rain, 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 rain all the time I was here. That's the not, I wouldn't say a stereotype. I think it's a well-earned, just, reality of being in the UK is a lot of rain. But this whole trip has been really lucky in terms of weather. I have maybe gotten lightly drizzled on, but I have maybe had to break open the umbrella once or twice, and not even for that long. The weather has been so nice, and I think Anthony was saying I picked the one sunny day for Cardiff. Like we went there and it was blue skies and white clouds, and it was absolutely perfect weather to go around. And we didn't get to go to all the Cardiff locations. You could spend like a week going to each and every one. But we did go inside the Millennium Center where you have scenes from New Earth as well as the Series 3 finale that were filmed there.
Mhm.
And so that was cool. But yeah, so we went to what we had time for because again, it gets dark quite early. So while this is a lovely time to see some foliage in the UK, I would recommend going maybe earlier in the year where you don't have to worry about it getting dark so early because you also need to find your way back. And even if you're using public transport, there are times where you're walking on streets and looking at Google Maps. And so that's no fun to walk around in the dark when you don't,
Right.
if you're by yourself. And again, I would
Right.
recommend to anybody that it is so much nicer to explore the UK or another country with somebody who is a local there. Simply because you can just shut your brain off and not worry about where you're going, not
Mhm.
worry about missing the stop that you're on, not worry about going the wrong way, or getting lost. You just feel safe, and you know that you can just let the other person, because they know where they're going. So
Right.
I would really recommend that. And I have been so lucky to have uh, friends in the UK from 6 7 years of doing this, my videos on YouTube, who
That's
I've gotten to
exactly
meet
what I was
in
just going to
person.
ask. Yeah.
They have been so kind and so amazing. I will mention all of those that I can remember, and apologize profusely if I miss out on anybody, but I do want to mention people, because they've been so nice.
I was wondering if you had already had some friends there before you went over. I
Oh
kind
yeah,
of thought you did. Yeah.
absolutely. I would not have been able to do this trip without friends and contacts from the UK, because otherwise I would have, yeah, gotten lost somewhere, and probably I'd be going in circles in the tube, unable to get off, going
Then
mad,
you would end up
going,
being on CNN. An American from Vermont
yeah,
is missing in London.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
When you're
god.
not missing, you're just lost.
Exactly.
Right.
So my friend Alex Goddard, who has a Doctor Who YouTube channel, I'm trying to get him to post again on it. He welcomed me into Manchester, and I could not have asked for a better guide to Manchester. Um, when I tell you that when he met me, the first thing he did, because I have this suitcase that I'm dragging around the UK that has for the purpose of this UK trip, all my worldly belongings, plus all the Doctor Who merchandise that I'm stuffing in there.
Right, because you
And it
brought a
is a
smaller suitcase inside the big suitcase to bring
yes,
back more Doctor Who memorabilia.
exactly. And I'm gonna trash everything I brought with me that's not Doctor Who and the clothes that I'm wearing, and fill it with Doctor Who stuff. So it
It's
means that
called
I'm
travel
carrying,
light. That's the way to
right?
do it.
Like I'm carrying a 20-pound backpack and a 30-pound suitcase. Now, 30 pounds isn't bad for a suitcase when you're traveling somewhere for 3 weeks, but when you are dragging it around everywhere you go, so the first thing that Alex Goddard did was, and I've seen this happen with several other friends that I'm here with. Everybody seems to do it. They take my suitcase, and they
Nice.
like Alex. They carry it around and make sure I don't have to deal with that as well. And it never left him. And he brought me to Piccadilly station, and there was just a table where you can plug in your phone and charge it up. And we had got the whole idea. He took time off of work, and the whole idea was we would meet. We would get some food, do some fun things, maybe some Doctor Who related things, and we did that later on. But he took time to do the mundane things of, do you know where you're going next? Do you know how you're getting there? Do you have your hotel booked? Do you have, I needed to get a UK SIM card for my phone. That's a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
And he was making sure that I knew where I was going. Did I have things to eat? He got me a Greg sausage. He took so much good care of me. And it was just that boring, non-fun, travel itinerary, stuff. But he took such great care of me while I was there, and told me about, like, don't go out in the evening on this day in Manchester, because there's a really big game going on, and there'll be a bunch of fans on the streets, and probably, getting a little rowdy and stuff. And just giving me tips like that, and making sure that I knew my itinerary and where I was going and how to get on the train. I still got lost, but that was on me. That was not on him, his directions. But I still got lost. But so things like that, where meeting up with my friend Aaron from All Things Doctor Who, he welcomed me into Tutbury and Hatton and let me stay with him for a night, and I'll be visiting him again before the trip is over. And things where he'd call me up, or I'd call him, and I'd be like, oh my god, like this train, am I at the right train? I don't know. Who do I ask? How do I get here? Or he helped me like get a hotel booked, and was sending me links to places, or saying, okay, well, if you want to get to Scarborough, you need to leave now, because there's this train leaving at this point, and you need to make this connection here, there, they are everywhere. So I knew both of them from YouTube. I knew Adam Time Lord Fishwick from his YouTube channel. I got to meet him, and we got to meet up in Manchester, and that was lovely as well. I got to meet a Doctor Who fan called James, who I hadn't interacted with before online, but he does some custom Doctor Who figures, and he hung out with us as well. Harry Williams Productions, another YouTuber that I knew. I got to meet him, and he was lovely too. And so all of these people were just, there not just to hang out, but also to make sure that I was okay and that I got around the UK just fine. I recently stayed with two people that I knew through doing the 1997 Doctor Who annual. The person who originally connected me with Mark, the editor, Anthony Garnon. I got to stay with him and his wife Prina for 3 nights, I think 3 nighs in their house, and they opened up their house to me, and showed me around, not only where they live, but also Anthony took the day off of work to show me around Cardiff, and always making sure that I got to my next stop safely, and checking in on me. Did you get to your hotel? Do you know where you're going? This, that, or the other thing. Feeding me, taking care of me. The Mark Worgan, the editor, and his whole family let me stay with them for 5 days. And hotels are expensive, and I'm in one now. It's a slightly less expensive hotel, but still nice. But it adds up. And so to stay with these people has saved me a lot and allowed me to spend more on Doctor Who stuff. But they just have all welcomed me into their homes and taken time off to show me around various different places. And so and even my family telling me how to get through an airport. I hadn't been to an airport since I was 12. I went out of the country then, so it wasn't the first time I'd been out of America, but it was the second time, and I'd never been to the UK. And so I hadn't been in an airport since I was 12. And so I got to a connection so early. It was like 4 hours early. So I was like, oh, this is great. I have a long layover. I'll be able to find my place because I'm sure I'll get lost. And I did get lost. But one of the reasons I got lost was I was so early for my connection that the signs for where to check your luggage hadn't been put up yet for my airline. And the people to check the luggage weren't working at their stations yet. So it just looked like a ghost town. And of course, I couldn't have known that's where I was supposed to be. So yeah, this whether it was my family, helping me afford everything that's going on, and I'll be paying my dad back for this trip for a little while. But because I worked my savings basically to just pay for the plane tickets. It was $1,400 for the round trip plane tickets to the UK alone. So it was not inexpensive. But so that's what I mean when I say that this whole trip has very little has had to rely on me, even though I'm the one, physically walking around these streets and going from location to location. It has been the people that I've met through Doctor Who and through YouTube, and my family supporting me, and even some people that don't know me very well, helping me out. I just met today Jason Goswell, who is a subscriber to the channel, and he showed me around the Who shop, and we met up at the Forbidden Planet in London, and he took me through the different stops on the tube to the train to the Who shop, and he got me supper as I was like trying to figure out my hotel reservation for tonight. And he got me those jelly babies that I showed you today, and this water bottle. Like, everybody's been so kind and nice, and has seen me as the guest and said, no, please let me show you around, or let me get you this or that or the other thing. And I can't hope to repay people back, so I've just had to give profuse thanks, and I brought some maple candies from Vermont to thank some people, but I've run out of that supply now, so now it's just relying on thanks. I met up with Philip Hawkins, another YouTuber that I've known for a while, and a fellow writer for the 1997 annual, and he works at the BBC in their radio department. He is a production coordinator, and so he gave me a tour of what I was allowed to see of the BBC. So that was so cool today. They have a TARDIS and a Dalek in the entryway. I get to keep my visitor pass, which you're not technically supposed to, but a very nice security guard saw that, knew that since I was from America, I might want to take that back. And obviously I wouldn't be able to use it again. So that was lovely. And, you know, so all of these different things, it's just, I felt so held and cared for and supported, and it's just so much privilege that I have. I feel honored to be here. I feel so lucky to be here, and I realize that, you know, just saying, oh, if you have a chance to do this, do it. This is so unique, and so that's why I'm sleeping very little and taking as much opportunity as I can to do everything that I possibly can while I'm here. And yeah, the whole lugging the suitcase around thing is it's quite an ordeal. So I would say pack as light as you can, and don't buy heavy things. And then, you know, there are some I think there are some apps and places where you can leave your luggage for the day. I've asked at the museum where the Barrie Comic Con was, I asked the people at reception, can I leave this here with you? And they were so helpful and nice, and they said, yeah, sure, because I could not have dragged that suitcase up and down to the convention space. So yeah, it's been really incredible, but I have dragged it on a lot of public transport with me, here, there, and everywhere. So it's nice when you have a hotel to just leave it and only take a duffel bag with you, or not a little bag around. So yeah, it's been so surreal. And I did actually meet a fan. Well, call it a fan sounds wrong, but like a subscriber, a member of the Who crew. I say fan so that people understand that I've never gotten recognized in public before. And yes, I was at a Doctor Who convention when this happened, but I was in the artist alley. So it wasn't even the Doctor Who section of MCM. But somebody comes up to me and says, hey, excuse me, I know you from YouTube. And I was like, you do? And he was like, yeah, I watch your videos. You do the, so his name was Luca. He's a member of the Who crew who was at this convention as well. And he came up to me and said hello. And we started talking about all the latest news and stuff. And I said, have you seen the Forbidden Planet display? And he said no. And I was like, oh, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you've got to see that. And so we went back to the display and bought some merchandise. And Una McCormack was there signing copies of Hootopia, just not officially, just, showed up at the event. And, Jay Binstead, the operations manager at Titan, who was running the whole Forbidden Planet show along with Anthony Garland, that's where I got to meet them initially. In person for the first time. He taps me on the shoulder and introduced me to Una McCormack, and I got to, as she was signing, we made sort of an assembly line. I would get the book open to the right page and pass it over to her, and so I got to talk to her and talk about my trip and stuff. And so I got a signed copy of Hootopia from her. So yeah, things like that. I mean, I talked with two other fans at Doctor Who fans at MCM, and during those conversations, they realized, wait, I have seen you on YouTube. But that interaction with Luca will be special to me forever, because it was the first time I'd been recognized. and he wasn't expecting to see a random American YouTuber at a British convention, but there I was. Right. There I was. So yeah. I told him I was very impressed with his eagle eyes, because you wouldn't be expecting me at a convention. And somebody at Barrie Comic Con, we didn't get to talk, but they said on Twitter, I think I saw you, because weren't you the one with the suitcase on the steps of the museum?
Oh no! Oh yeah. I saw that. That is so funny. Yeah, yep. Man, so it really has been the trip of a lifetime.
It's been so wild, and the trip of a lifetime. And I've been journaling every night, because I'm sure there's stuff. Oh, I didn't even tell you about the antiques and consignment stores that I've been to looking for Doctor Who stuff. Oh, when I tell you how rare it is to find a Doctor Who thing in an American consignment store or antique store, it is possible. Oftentimes they are not cheap, but I've been to many, many stores in the UK, many consignment stores. I mean, you know, not every random one. There are lots of stores where you don't find Doctor Who, but if it's a collectible store in particular, you will always find something that is Doctor Who. And I have found some incredible deals. So do you know the Region 2 DVDs for the new series? That's like Series 1, Volume 1, Series 1, Volume 2,
Yeah.
Series 1, Volume. Yeah. They have them for the first 6 or so seasons. I was at a collectible store, and we were finding little pockets of Doctor Who stuff here and there for good prices and good deals. And I thought, oh, this is so cool. This is fun. It's kind of like an easy treasure hunt. Let's put it that way. And I thought that's all it was going to be. But then I come to this section that this person put together. That I think it was Popplewicks is the name of the section. It's a reference to the Ultimate Foe. And it was this whole like 3x3 walled section full of Doctor Who stuff. There were books, there were audios, there were VHSs, there were DVDs, there were action figures. And there were these new series DVDs, 5 for £1. So for reference, that's $1.50.
Right.
5 DVDs. So it was 20 pence per DVD. I got
that's as close to free as you can get.
Right? I got 18
Wow.
Doctor Who DVDs. Now these aren't the newest ones, but I got 18 of them for £3.60. That's $5.
$5. Yeah.
You could never ever hope, even with non-recent Doctor Who DVDs in the US, to ever get a deal like that.
No,
and
absolutely
today
not.
at the London Forbidden Planet, I've been going to as many Forbidden Planets as I can. I've been to the Bristol Forbidden Planet. I've been to the Manchester Forbidden Planet. I think the Liverpool Forbidden Planet as well. I'll have to check my list. But they've recently been having, I think they're trying to move their Titan Doctor Who graphic novel stock, but there were at another Forbidden Planet, I think the Bristol one, they had these Titan graphic novels for £1 each. So
nice.
Again, like $1.50 each, as cheap as you can get basically in the UK. But at this London Forbidden Planet, they had a ton of these graphic novels, but they were also, I don't know if you can see that, 3 for £2. So I got 6 graphic novels for £4. So $6 in the US. That's $1 a piece. And I can't get too many because they're very heavy, and I then have to grab them up.
Yeah.
But it hasn't stopped me from getting more than I probably should, because they're so cheap and in lovely condition. I also got two items from the Diamond Collection. They're postcard sets that hadn't got yet. These weren't regular prices, £7 a piece. This was £10, but it was signed by Keith Temple. It's the novelization of Doctor Who Planet of the Ood. And it wasn't like he was there when I was there signing it, but it was one that he'd come to the store at some point, or a store and done a signing. And you know, you never get this in the US.
No.
Around on the shelf. So there were times as an American Doctor Who fan that I thought I must be collecting wrong. I must be a bad collector, because I saw people collect so much faster in the UK. And what I would say is not to diminish the incredible collecting abilities that many people on YouTube that I watched and thought this way about myself as a result of have, but I would say don't be hard on yourself as an American fan, because it is much harder to find as good secondhand or even in-store new deals as an American collector. Because there are no Forbidden Planets in the US. There are no CEX. I've been to CEX and bought DVDs from there. They have these dividers at CEX for the Doctor Who section that are just empty blank DVDs with a piece of paper that has printed Doctor Who and HMV logo on it. And there were 6 of them in a row. And so I just grabbed one and I asked them at the counter, I was like, this is going to seem really weird, but can I have this as a memento that I went to? It was HMV. And they did look at me like I had 2 heads, but they were like, sure.
Oh, well, yeah. You know,
they threw it in for free.
But. Nice. You know, I didn't know that there was more than one Forbidden Planet. I thought there was only one of them, because here we've got the Who North America, or Who NA, which
Yeah.
I think, where is that? Is that in Indiana?
Indiana,
Yeah,
yes.
Indiana. Okay, and then
Nine
there's
hours or 13 hours away from me.
right, and then there's Alien Entertainment in Chicago, or I think it's
Yes.
in I think it's in Lombard, Illinois, just outside of West Chicago. I think it moved, but yeah, there's
Yeah,
Alien
one of
Entertainment and
those.
Who NA,
Yeah.
and I had no idea that there were so many. It sounds like
There
a
are.
chain. Is it a
It
chain?
is a chain. It is a chain in the
Wow,
UK.
cool.
CEX is a chain where you can get Doctor Who DVDs. I've been there. HMV is another chain that we don't have in the UK, in the US. I've been there. WH Smith's is just a regular old convenience and magazine store, newspapers. You can get their snacks, candies, whatever. But you can always get the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine there. Well, I say always, they sell out quickly, but so I've been able to go into a WH Smith's and get a Doctor Who magazine because, in my experience, you can only find them at like a Barnes and Noble, and it's like
Okay,
three
I was
issues
just going to
behind.
ask,
You
is
know,
WH Smith like Barnes and Noble?
it's well, no, it's not like a fancy bookstore, but it's a it's like any place where you would buy magazines in the US. It's like this three-walled small shop that has a couple of aisles of things, and it's like a little convenience store that is a chain in the UK, and you can always go there and get magazines, the latest issues of magazines. And so we don't have them in the US, but to just I can't remember the last time I went into a store in the US and spotted a Doctor Who magazine. Can you? Like,
Yeah, I
I'd have to
can,
go to
and
Barnes
that
and
would be,
Noble.
yeah, it would be Barnes and Noble here in San
Yeah,
Francisco, which it's a really big, huge store. There's a Starbucks inside of it, so you
yeah.
can actually get a snack to eat, or you can sit there and drink
Mhm.
coffee
Yeah.
in this big, large, elaborate store. And then there's like two Doctor Who magazines in the
Yeah.
whole store. And
Yeah.
when you find those two Doctor Who magazines, one of them will be a special that was released 3 months ago, and it cost
Yeah.
almost $40. And then the
Yes.
other one will be the second most recent issue of Doctor Who magazine. Like right now, I think
Yeah.
Doctor Who
Exactly.
magazine just released 587 yesterday. I actually
Five
subscribed to
ninety
it
seven.
digitally.
Five
597.
ninety
Yeah,
seven.
I got
I
my
got.
digital one.
Oh,
But the
nice.
one that you would find in Barnes and Noble would have been 595.
Yes,
So well, we're
exactly.
not talking about the
Three
previous
issues
issue,
behind.
the one
Yeah.
before that
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this big giant elaborate store. So
Right. And you certainly
anyway,
wouldn't find it in many other stores where you would get magazines.
no, I don't
So
think
like
so.
things like that. Like even I was staying with Anthony when 597 his subscriber copy came, so he let me film a video about that. And so
Cool.
I felt again like this special thing. Like I get the download maybe around whenever midnight in the UK hits, so 7 p.m. I think is when I can access the Pocket Mags download. But people who order subscriber copies often get the magazine the day before
Exactly.
or earlier. Now, a lot of people do experience delays and stuff, or not getting stocked in your area. But not to paint with broad brushstrokes as to how it is for every UK fan, but I can paint with broad brushstrokes accurately what it's like for US Doctor Who fans, which is just a much, like we tend to get merchandise, regular old merchandise. If we do get it, does often come a couple weeks later for us, which means for things like the celebration of Doctor Who in the UK, if something comes out 2, 3, or the day of the 60th, you can maybe hop into a store and be able to get that or have it arrive in time. But in the US, you'd never get that if it came too late to the 60th. So it has been incredible being able to experience, like I'll be able to go into a WH Smith's tomorrow and get the 597 magazine from Doctor Who, and to go into the Forbidden Planet and see the Beep the Meat store exclusive enamel pin badge and get that. It's just so surreal and amazing. And I know there's things that I haven't told you about that I've done that it will end up, they'll all be in the vlog when it comes,
Okay.
when I edit it. I'm going to put it out as separate videos and then one big massive omnibus sort of,
Okay.
I don't know, movie length or whatever it is. And yeah, so that's, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I know that there is. But
Oh,
yeah,
there's got
so
to be. There's got to be. I mean, but
um,
I know that I know what's next. It's 10:15 your time, and you haven't been getting enough sleep while you're over
yes,
there. So,
thank
so
you. That's a good
yeah.
point.
Hey,
I can't believe we're
right.
8 hours apart. Thank
Well,
you
you
for,
know what? Last week it was only 7 hours. Do you realize
yeah,
that
yeah,
there was one week in America where it went from 8 hours to 7 hours and then switched back to 8 hours?
yeah.
That
What was
almost
up
threw
with,
me off. I was trying to meet. I don't know. It's
yeah,
ridiculous. It shouldn't be getting dark at 5:30 in California. I mean, that's
it is,
they
yeah, it
need to
happens
do
here
away
too.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they need to do away with the time changes. But well, listen, for
Thank
everybody
you.
that's
Yes.
enjoyed this, Alex Patterson is from the Doctor Who Guide. If you have not seen his YouTube channel, it is one of the most excellent Doctor Who
Oh,
content channels on
thank you.
YouTube, coming straight out of America. And as you can see, Alex has made the pilgrimage to the United Kingdom, and he
Yeah.
and is having a great time. So go check out the Doctor Who Guide. Lots of great content, and apparently lots of great content coming up. And while you're at it, also check out whoseum.net. That is an
Thank
excellent site to keep on track with every new thing that's coming out. So, last question. While you've been there, have you been able to keep up with updating your website, or do you have to, or is it automated?
So I prepared it
Whoseum,
as
I'm
much
talking
as I
about.
could. Museum, I
Right.
prepared as much as I could before I left, but I thought I'd have time to, but I just brought my phone with me, so updating the
Okay.
website I've not been able to since I was here. But I do run the whoseum.net site, and it will be updated as soon as I get back, and it's fairly up to date as it is now. And I want to say too, you're getting advanced knowledge of this trip by watching this video, because at the time it comes out, my channel will not yet have the vlog. So you are all getting an exclusive preview of what I've been up to in my UK trip, more than just what I posted on Twitter and Instagram. So if you want more awesome interviews with incredible Doctor Who writers and actors and all that good stuff, then definitely subscribe to the timescales as well, because like
Oh,
you're seeing, hey, you get exclusive updates on things like this. So there's an alarm, a siren going by now. I don't know if you can hear that, but thank you
yeah,
so
I
much for having me
just heard
on.
that. Yeah, and thank you, Alex. With all of your excitement and enthusiasm, I was thinking, you know what? I need to talk to him while he's there and get this down and recorded. And this has been really fun.
You
And
know what?
enjoy.
Would you mind if I included this interview in my vlog episode of this day?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. In fact, as soon as we're done recording, I'm going to send you the raw Zoom recording, so you'll have it like in about 30 minutes if you have time to play
Oh,
around
thank you.
with editing tonight. Oh, you didn't bring a computer; you just brought your
Right.
phone.
I'll do it when I
Yeah.
get
Okay.
back.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I
I'll send it to you right now. So, well,
awesome.
as soon as Zoom is finished, whatever it does.
Perfect. Thank
Um,
you so much.
and let me see what else was it? Oh, you said you're there one more week.
One more week. I leave on the 16th. Today is the 9th. So in that time, I'm going to go to London Film and Comic Con. I have another day in London tomorrow to see Doctor Who filming locations, do touristy stuff like that. I've seen the London Eye from afar, but I want to see that from Rose up close. And then I'm going back to Tutbury and Hatton. I will say that backwards. To see Aaron from All Things Doctor Who one more time. I'm going back to Manchester to see the Worgans. We're going to do a Doctor Who escape room. And so that is the rest of my trip kind of planned out
Okay.
there. So that's what I'll be up to, along with London Film and Comic Con on the 11th and 12th.
Okay. Awesome, Alex. Safe travels, and
Thank you.
ping me when you're back in the States. And I'm going to be looking forward to the content on your channel, documenting your trip even more. This is a really interesting thing for Doctor Who fans to be able to talk and to see somebody that actually really did do it, that actually did just go over to the United Kingdom for this shared love of a British science fiction drama series, Doctor Who.
Right. Colin Baker was joking with me that I took the long way round because he'll be at Chicago Tardis, the Chicago Doctor Who convention.
That's right.
At the end of November. So he was like, if you came all the way to the UK to meet me, Chicago's closer for you.
Right. Yeah, I would love to go to that, but we're going to be traveling overseas in November. And a matter of fact, when the David Tennant, Catherine Tate specials come on, I won't be able to watch them because I won't have access to Disney Plus. So there's something else to look forward to in the future. All right. Take care, Alex. Have it. Yeah. Thank you kindly, and have a nice night.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Take care.